So I feel first to explain you a little bit who Chamath Palihapitiya is. Officially, he is an investor and also the non-executive chairman of Virgin Galactic. This means that he's not into the business, but on the main decisions, he is definitely on board and he's the chairman of the board. So let's talk about who is this guy. He actually had a straight career until he became billionaire. Okay, so he started basically, or pretty much, his first big job that he landed was the first and youngest VP of AOL. Do you remember this internet company? Yes, exactly. So from there he met in Silicon Valley Mark Zuckerberg and they worked together, and then Mark Zuckerberg asked him to join Facebook and he joined Facebook and then got equity, and then he was with Zuckerberg also very, very important into the growth of Facebook. And then he actually exited Facebook with a huge pile of money because he got equity. He started as a venture capitalist, then with Social Capital, which is his venture fund, and then he invested into startups, into companies, and now he's the SPAC king. And one of his first SPACs was obviously Virgin Galactic, and since then he became billionaire. He is looking for climate change investments, for innovative stories, and he actually was right a couple of times with his capital on very life-changing companies. Okay, so one of his first investments was Amazon. So he sold all of his shares of Facebook in 2014 and put it all in Amazon. Then he bought a lot of chunk of Bitcoins. I believe it was like $1 million at the price of $80 for one Bitcoin. This is obviously now more than 200 or $300 million, guys. So this is one of the biggest and best investments, I guess. Then he, invested into Tesla, into some convertible bonds that he bought because he thought this is the better solution than the stock itself, because if the company will not succeed, then he would get some more stock. So he was right on Tesla, Amazon, Bitcoin. As you can see, many things. He was also investor in Slack, for example, that recently got sold as well. So you can see here he was right on many kind of things. And I want to show you that what is really important is that, guys, make your own research. I spent the last couple of days just researching every bits of pieces that I can find and that I haven't seen, or I wanted to rewatch things that I have seen already, and I spent hours into that every single day. And I came across a very interesting interview. It must be somewhere from 2020 January, just before the health crisis let the people not come to the TV studio, because he came to CNBC and he talked about his conviction about Virgin Galactic, what he invested, and what is the connection between Virgin Galactic as well as Tesla. So let's dive into his interview with CNBC. So I want to go with you into 3 snippets I picked from that interview with Chamath. Here we go with the first one.
Can I take a step back and actually just give you the setup? So, sure. And I think the setup it doesn't just apply to Virgin, but it also applies to Tesla. And those two things are actually the most similar stories. And the setup goes along the following lines. First, let's look at the fixed income markets. For the last 10 years, everything that has looked like a nail has been dealt with the following hammer, which is print money, cut rates. The Patriots win the Super Bowl, print money, cut rates. Trump tweets, print money, cut rates. Coronavirus, print money, cut rates. And while that's happened, rates have gone to zero, and there's trillions of excess capacity just sloshing around in the fixed income side. Then on the equity side, the number of companies you can invest in has shrank by 1/3. There's really no growth outside of multiple expansion, and there's no growth outside of buybacks. So everybody crowds into the 5 technology companies, right? The FANG stocks, which represent 20% of the market cap of the S&P. So when you put those two things together, there's a setup where there's no real growth, there's no unique stories, and there's nothing that can give you long-term outlook. So then when a company comes along that has a unique narrative and is trying to do something that is differentiated, high margin, and could theoretically grow for 10 years where there's an enormous amount of consumer demand.
So first need to understand that, he understands how the economy works, and he just take 1 + 1 × 2. All right, so he's a very smart investor. He made billions off his mind to understand how innovative company works. So he's showing us in the first snippet that, with the injection of capital, they are looking for real growth, guys, okay? And this real growth is always into the disruptors, okay? You see huge growth in Tesla. You saw huge growth in Beyond Meat, in Peloton, in Amazon back then, in Netflix back then, If you have a new kind of product, you are very much growing. And this is where the capital wants to go, because the other assets available on the markets might not grow that much and might not even outperform their index, the S&P 500. And this is actually where we're going. So let's have a look into the second clip by Chamath.
It is that, setting an arbitrary date for something like spaceflight is not the right thing to do. I think you want to move forward in a plan, not move backwards from a date, and give that team, who are, the best scientists from NASA, JPL, give them the chance and the opportunity to just build an exceptionally beautiful experience. The thing for you, and you just said it, is we want you to not say you want to be the millionth customer, that you want to be the 10,000th customer or the 1,000th customer.
What did you say, Sorkin? What you said 10,000th customer, I think.
I said a multiple of
1,000.
No, 8,000, because you had said we said 8,000.
Yeah. Okay. So you're the 8,000.
But by the way, guys, and what George said yesterday is they're making amazing progress. Working through the FAA, working through the technical capabilities, flying the machines back down to New Mexico, and then on top of that, all this demand keeps piling up. 124% increase in the number of people that want to buy tickets. We've now started to accept pre-reservations.
Right.
If those 8,000 people, just those 8,000 people, doesn't seem like a lot, but when you think that the price could be around 300 grand, that's 2.4 billion of pipeline.
In the second clip, it's important, I think, what we all feel. There's not the right time to set, hard dates. I know Main Street ones that they want always to have, the specific dates. And we saw that a Tesla story as well, that dates or predictions are always wrong. They're sometimes too good and sometimes they are totally wrong. So that's why I agree here with Chamath that saying, about dates, just let it be a little bit flexible. It's a very hard problem they are solving here engineering wise, so give them time. And the next big thing is that he emphasizes what we said here on this channel many times. There will be not a demand problem, but there will be the problem of scaling, okay? How fast and how quick Virgin Galactic can scale around the world, in North America, in New Mexico, how many ships we can build, and so on and so forth. This will be the main challenge, guys, okay? How we can scale that in a very safe way, as you have seen. They're asking also about the insurance policy. So let's dive into the last clip of Chamath on CNBC about Virgin Galactic.
We put $800 million into the business, between secondary and primary. So, there aren't a lot of people that are walking around with $800 million burning a hole in their pocket. So we found a fair valuation for him and for me. I think the other thing, though, Becky, that happened is when you take these things that I just talked about, the dearth of opportunities and the fact that there's so much money on the sidelines, and then apply it to a unique story, I think what happened in the fall was people finally woke up to Tesla, and then people started to say, what else looks very similar to this? You have to remember, people missed out on a 75x on Tesla over the last decade. I didn't. I was a proponent of the Tesla converts. I've been shredded on Twitter for years and years being a supporter of Elon in that company. We turned out to be right. The shorts turned out to be wrong. And I feel just as emotionally invested and intellectually invested in Virgin.
So in the last part, he again mentions the story stocks that have really a unique story growth. for the next couple of years. And he invested $800 million into this business. So you can see here that, he and Richard Branson are really behind this, guys. Okay, it's not like a little bit pocket money. It's a serious investment because he's believing in the business. He's believing in the, fundamentals of the business, which is, a super high, software-like gross margin on their product, guys. Okay, we are talking here about that not that often, but it is the case if you want to take it from the very financial business side. You having here very wonderful business, very high margin business. And then obviously, he again emphasized that he has the same conviction or similar conviction that he had for Tesla, now for Virgin Galactic. And this should give you a little bit of an understanding that not only he is behind this, I'm behind that, and many other thousands of viewers of this channel are behind that. So if you want to be part of that, let me know in the comments below, and let's dive into the conclusion of this video. So in the conclusion, I would like to point out the main takeaways. All right, so first of all, there is cheap money through printing money, through stimulus, through very low interest. Okay, this is a situation where the stock market gets more and more funds injected, which first devalues obviously the dollar at some point, second will let equity prices go up and up and up until we have a bubble, and until they decide, we will rise the interest rate, and then the bubble can burst very heavily. This can happen maybe in 2022, 2023, 2024, maybe 2030. We don't know, because it's always depending how the overall economy is, obviously, and always a black swan can come and burst the bubble. But until then, if there's music, let's freaking dance. All right, so second, I want to emphasize that I totally agree with Chamath seeing that Virgin Galactic is very similar to Tesla. Specifically, I want to emphasize that I really think that Virgin Galactic, it's at the stage where they are, finalizing their product, the first product, which is, the space tourism. It's very similar to the very first Model S that Tesla was working on. Nobody knew if this will work out. Nobody knew how it will go with the superchargers and so on. Many question marks that with time, great management, great execution, and a wonderful team got solved brilliantly, and now it's on the way to the most valuable company in the whole world. And here on this channel, if you are an OG Wolf, you know that we saw that very early in 2019. Since I'm on YouTube, Tesla was the high conviction trade, and then after that, pretty much, besides, small other very successful investments like Beyond Meat, Peloton, and so on, we really went hardcore on space. I got a lot of laughter. I got really lot of negative comments, but I don't care, because, if I put 100 or 200 or 300 hours of research, I'm very convinced of myself that I cannot be that wrong. I see innovation, I see a great consumer product, I see a brand, I see a team, and all of this knowledge, how to find the stocks, I put together in my x10masterclass.com online course, and you will get even the crazy lifetime access to the Discord channel where we talk 24 hours about Virgin Galactic. So if you want to be part of that, check it out here in the link of the description. There's even a 10% discount code with 10 space, just for a very short of time.